Hospital staff at the Regional Medical Center in Anniston cheered for Ruby Bentley as she left the building Tuesday.
I was more excited to see my kids and my brother and my dad than I was anything else, because it had been over a month since I seen them.
The 41-year-old Alexandria woman battled COVID-19 and returned to her family this week, her brother Gene by her side.
Her and the doctors, they didn't give up. She done what she could to stay, alive and fighting through.
Bentley spent several weeks in the COVID-19 unit at RMC Medical Center. Doctors placed her under a medically induced coma. She needed a ventilator to breathe.
Fortunately, I came off okay, but most of them are not turning out so well.
Now she says she has plans to catch up on some well-needed rest.
I'm terrified of getting sick again. One, my lungs can't take it, because my lungs are still healing.
The family members are thankful to the doctors and nurses at RMC Hospital.
I truly owe that whole unit my life, because if they had not acted so quickly, I would not be here today.
At any moment, they could have said, we've tried everything.
Say, oh yeah, you can come next week, but they were like, we need you tomorrow.
Taylor Campbell was one of 600 nurses to help at Metropolitan Hospital in New York City this month, getting thrown into the mix immediately.
They threw me into the ICU, and I had 3 intubated patients. I'm used to working in a trauma room with 2 intubated patients, but having, teammates to help you. This was every man for themselves. It really was a war zone.
Campbell says encouraging words from her family through video were what kept her going, and a unique and special bond with one patient she never expected.
I had her for 15 days. She was a transfer onto our unit, and I had her every single day. She was intubated, so she couldn't talk to me, but I talked to her all day, every day, about my dog, about home life.
And when the patient was able to breathe on her own and speak,
I just felt like she knew who I was, and she would squeeze my hand and she would tell me she didn't want me to leave the room. And it was very emotional. And I could start crying now, when we took the tube out to extubate her, and literally just a couple minutes later, she looked at me and said that she loved me. It was just a crazy moment. I never would have expected that. And it was one of the best days of my life and the best way to end my 21 days in New York.
Well, Rob, Carl Hoffman lost his mother from COVID-19 nearly a week ago. And on Saturday, his wife, daughters, sons, siblings, nieces, and nephews all gathered to say their final virtual goodbye.
Lord our God, the death of our sister Emily recalls our human condition.
At 92 years old, Emily Huffman, a mother of 5 and grandmother of 11, passed away in her Wilkes-Barre nursing home.
The unit chief was changing the oxygen tank and told me she's gone downhill. And so he put the phone to her ear.
Her youngest son, Carl, says she was in good spirits until her final days.
My brother and my nephew were giving her peanut butter cups, and the staff would deliver that to her.
He was devastated when learning there would be no large family gatherings and no funeral service.
My mother's Catholic. We couldn't have the Mass or the wake or services at the funeral home.
The family, longing for closure, opted to honor their matriarch through a Zoom call.
That's one thing I hear from a lot of my friends, was how generous and gracious Mom was.
Carl says she was big on 2 things, her family and working hard for her family.
She was always making sandwiches, cooking burgers, hot dogs when people came over.
Experts say that dealing with grief during the COVID pandemic is extremely difficult.
I think it leaves people really much more confused and perhaps angry and struggling to find ways to kind of manage and cope with it.
That's why doctors suggest staying connected.
If it wasn't for the online connectivity, I think people would really be just not knowing how to grieve and just frustrated. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
What a beautiful homegoing. Carl says that because his family and relatives are all scattered throughout the country, that they plan on making Zoom a regular part of their family traditions. Live in Harrisburg, Talia Kirkland, CBS 21 News.
The good news about a potential vaccine against the COVID-19 coronavirus is that dozens of the best minds around the world are trying to find one.
There are about 70 companies that are currently working on vaccines.
At this recent coronavirus town hall in northern Kentucky, Tim Schroeder, who coordinates vaccine research trials, told me expecting one by fall during our critical flu season, however, isn't likely due to a number of things.
It just takes a specific period of time to develop the vaccine, to test it, and ascertain which one you want to actually put forward.
Texas A&M, however, announced today that along with several other research teams, including those at Harvard and Baylor, they've started clinical trials on an old tuberculosis vaccine to see if it could be repurposed for a new use. It wouldn't prevent you from catching the COVID-19 virus. Instead, it would boost your own immunity against it.
Sometimes we've found that an old drug, one that we've used for years, can serve a new purpose.
The Texas A&M team claims they could share results in 6 months. While many say it would be good to collaborate and have a COVID-19 vaccine developed in the United States, we shouldn't factor this into how we take steps forward right now to return to normalcy.
Obviously, having a vaccine will change the paradigm completely, but I don't think that's going to be in the decision making right now as we move forward in the coming weeks or months.
The other very important consideration is not just having a vaccine, but having maybe more than one, like we do with the flu vaccine, that may have different dosing.
When you think of the influenza vaccine, who do we target there? We target elderly, we target young, we target people with a lot of comorbidities or other illnesses. Most of the early analysis suggesting that group of patients are the ones that are more likely to die.
I'm medical reporter Liz Bonus reporting.
Hey guys, hello to you. These are used to kill germs in hospital rooms, but now there are some physicians that want to use what they call far UV light to kill the COVID-19 virus in the office. Dr. Eddie Fatikoff of the Center for Internal and Integrative Medicine in Georgia telling us as he talked by FaceTime that it doesn't harm human skin or eyesight, and research shows it can kill the COVID-19 coronavirus in 1/10 of a second. Now he's actually showing us what's called the Excimer Wave sterile ray. He says he's hoping it'll be fast-tracked for FDA approval to kill the virus to be used between visits in office patients.
It kills everything, even the human coronavirus, in about less than 5 seconds. I turn on this machine, it will disinfect this whole room, viruses, bacteria, particles, and sterilize the whole room in a matter of a couple of minutes. So that patient comes in and then leaves, I can sterilize the whole room.